So welcome to my September plot tour. Well, I'm done for a while. So I thought I'd give you a little look around. So these are the sun gold tomatoes, and these are out doing well outside. And I've just planted all of these tough ball onions up. There's around about 40 onions, I think. And inspired by Buckets and Bags Homegrown Veg on YouTube. These are some a last little crop of beans that I'm hoping to get out of, and these are my lettuce in a box, and I'm going to do a separate video all about those, and they have just gone crazy. And we're just coming around now, and here you can see my spring bulbs that I've just got from the garden centre. I'm just deciding where they are all going to go. And we've got the blueberries, and I've got some hanging basket tomatoes. Haven't done that well this year, and the blueberries have done absolutely nothing this year. I'm going to have to think about those. I've got some beans, and I'm drying those on the plant so that I can collect the beans from them. Starting to bulk up now. Again, some outdoor tomatoes that have done all right. And there's my big bean netting, and I have had loads of cobra beans out of there, but I think next year I'm going to have some rotation going on because I had a big glut of beans and then I've had none for a while. I'm trying the purple beans for the white bean inside and store those for winter. And the thing I'm probably most proud of in the garden at the moment are these Sweetcorn. I've got 6 in one each in a bucket, and they have done amazing. I didn't think at one point they would do anything, and here they are. You can grow Sweetcorn in a bucket. So what I've been doing quite regularly is just getting the pollen and popping it on top of the plants, because there are only 6, and they might not get pollinated without that. So and it seems to have worked. I've got some quite big sweet corn. I've also got some little chilies there, and I'm really considering whether or not to grow my chilies outside more permanently, because so these are some onions, and well, that's not an onion, it's a grass plant, but there are some onions in there as well. I've got a butternut squash plant here, and there's one little butternut, but I don't know if it'll have time to actually make something. These red cabbages, I should have had them netted. That net isn't enough to keep the things off, so we'll see what happens. And strangely, some of my outdoor tomatoes here have got blossom end rot, and it's not because of what's in the bottom. I think we've got enough nutrients. I think this is being caused from inconsistent watering, because I've got other tomatoes in exactly the same pots with exactly the same soil in other parts of the garden with nothing, whereas these ones have just got that rot on the bottom. So I think it's to do with watering. So you've got to always kind of water your plants consistently throughout. And it's because it's so wet, things are just snapping off. But those are my yellow courgettes. They've done the best, and I've also got some other courgettes growing here, but it hasn't been a great year for courgettes. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm gonna have to put them on the do better next year list. I don't know if it's been the weather. It's been strange weather, hot, really hot, and then it just rained for a week. So everything is looking quite lush at the moment and wet and damp, but with that brings, I think, pests and things and mould. Hopefully I'll have a little bit of dry spell. Now this again, things are just dropping off, rotten, because of the water. I have already taken a couple of, I think these are curry squashes, so I've taken a couple off there, and I've got an aubergine there which I'm kind of leaving to see if I get some seeds. I'm not sure yet, I might take it. And here my squashes, and my squashes are creating a bit of a river over this. It's a bit of a dead area. It's beautiful white flowers in spring, but after the flowers have gone, there's nothing happened. So I've trailed my squashes over them. I've got a couple of white ones there, and I've got a couple of white ones on the other side, which I'll take you around. See my spring onions there in a bucket I've just done, and some beetroot. Winter beetroot, and I've got a nice butternut squash growing here, and I have taken another squash off here that was quite a big one, and there's the other two little white ones that are grown, and you can see if we follow this along that we've just keep on going, but it does look quite pretty. It looks a bit like a river flowing down. It's quite good. But I have cut off any kind of extra trailing bits because I don't think we'll get any new growth like squash wise. These are some winter lettuce. I've got some pak choi in there, and I've got some mizunas, so those are mainly for the winter, and I've also got some red pak choi hidden by the squash that have been a bit nibbled, but they're starting to recover. And there's the tomatillos. I've already had quite a few off. I've got a couple of little plants around the place. Some tomatoes that we're waiting to see if they go red. The bottom's alright. And in the back here, there's some perpetual spinach and there's some lemongrass growing. So it's the first time I've grown lemongrass. These are my very sad looking leeks. I don't know what's happened to them. I think the hot weather has just made them grow far too fast, and then we've just got these big leafy things. Not sure what to do. I'm just leaving them at the moment, but any advice please in the comments. Do I trim, to trim or not to trim? And here are my outdoor tomatoes, and we have had quite a few ripe off here. Just keep picking them. As soon as they go red now, I'm picking and letting them ripen in the house a stage just to get ripen going. These are my new carrot bucket, and they're going quite well. And I give a little bit of a feel to see if there's a carrot there, and we have got carrots, so that's good. Keep them going as long as I can. I've also got some onions in this bed, and in this bed it's not very deep. I think next year I'm determined to make a strawberry patch. I've got lots of strawberries to do that. I've got some cress growing in there, germinating nicely, and I've got some these are all from seeds, some foxgloves and some wallflowers, and we're going to overwinter them. And that's some basil. And we'll have a little look in the greenhouse. You can see another some more spring onions that I've just planted, some seed for the winter. And in the greenhouse it is looking a bit bare, but I have had, I think we're on the 10th big jar of tomato sauce that I've made, so I preserve them all into jars and keep this going over the winter, and it's been really worth letting the tomatoes grow right up there, because you can see I have got some trusses left, so we will be having some cherry tomatoes for a while. The thing that hasn't done this well, I'm just pointing out there, is the cucumber plant. I've only had about 4 or 5 cucumbers, where other people seem to have a cucumber a day, so I'm definitely going to change the variety next year. I've got a pepper plant there. I've got a long macaroni. I am going to do a whole lot more peppers in the greenhouse next year, because they have done very well. That one's looking a bit saggy, it needs a good water. Definitely peppers in the greenhouse rather than the conservatory. I think we're going to give the conservatory a bit of a break next year. And oh no, my finger's in the way. So here you can see beefsteak tomatoes. Actually those were Crimson Crush and Tigerella. I believe I saved the seed last year. They've done amazing this year, the Tigerellas. I've got some at the back here as well. And you can see some lovely beefsteak tomatoes, and I've already taken quite a few out of the greenhouse. I'm definitely going down the beefsteak route next year, because I just love when you slice through, when you see those beautiful patterns. I'm definitely growing more beefsteak next year. And this is a bit of a mess, this area. Got some brassicas going, but because I haven't netted it properly, the caterpillars have got in, and some plants were right, some plants are quite eaten. So I just can't wait to take that netting off and just have a good look. I was a bit late with this netting, if I'm honest, and tried to salvage some plants, probably a bit too late, but it feels a bit of a mess around here. I do need to get it sorted out, and I've got some potatoes growing in buckets and bags, and some Tortentine kale there that just loves to grow. I've got some seedlings for the winter. We've just planted out those. There's some snow cauliflower, something or other, and I've got like some corn salad and things like that grown. You can see here, I need to do something. Definitely need to improve the netting situation next year. I have got some calabrese and some oh, I don't remember the name. There's some carrots grown there. Haven't been amazing. I think it's just light levels, but there is some stubbly little carrots there. Probably needed thinning out as well, which I didn't do a very good job of. I've got a late cut of beans at the bottom there. You can see I'm just showing you once all the leaves drop off those trees up there. Hopefully this area should get a bit more light. But there's the beans. I put them in a few weeks ago, and I've got some. I've already picked a handful. It's great. These are my colettes. I've grown them for the first time this year, so we'll see. And interestingly, haven't been netted. Haven't got a thing wrong with them. These ones have been a bit munched, but the other ones haven't had a munch at all. That's great. And again, snow, I can't remember the exact variety, but it's something like snow cauliflower. Some more buncheon spring onions for the winter, so we'll just grow them through and see what happens. Masses of strawberry plants, a rhubarb plant that's grown really well in this bucket. I'm quite pleased with it, so I'll just leave it. And I've got some ochre, and they're different coloured ochres, so you can see by the different coloured leaves, and some mint there. And what I'm trying to do is take lots of runners off the strawberry plants, which is pretty easy this time of year because it's just setting off runners everywhere. You see here, wherever I see one, I kind of shove a pot underneath and I collect them all up here because I've showed you over where I'm going to make my new strawberry patch for next summer. So up the stairs, that's some curly kale. It just loves to, it's just grown and grown. I need to take some more leaves off there. And I've got some beautiful borlotti type beans under here that I'm again saving for the bean. I'm going to dry them. And they're amazing. And just coming up the other side of the plot, the main veggie plot here. See the pond, it's doing quite well. Just got this new oxygenating plant for the winter to try and make sure even if the water's a bit frozen, there's still oxygen going in. There's my begonia, and this is the outdoor cucumber, which has done actually alright. We've got 3 or 4, so you can grow them outdoors, but they do get a bit struggling this time of year. You can see it's had its best. And I've got loads of runners here that I need to pop into some pots. And I need to take these sunflowers out and tidy that up a bit. And I've got some, you can see more ochre and some potatoes there. And I have got a calabrese forming, which is great. Take that later. Not very big ones though. And down this side you can just about see the coriander that I'm growing, and that's grown really, really well. I think just managed to miss the heat wave. At the end of the heat wave I planted it and it's doing great well, and that's Cavallonero kale, and that looked like nothing about a month ago and has really taken off. And all of these plants here, you can see that it's a new little flower bed that I've grown from seed. Everything is grown from seed. The dahlias haven't done anything nearly as much as I wanted them to, but there are other little plants that have done amazing, like these yellow, I think echinacea is called, type flower. But look at that, that's beautiful. And the pelargoniums have really added a load of colour up here at the back garden, because we struggle with the shade at the back garden to get anything really worthwhile. So these buckets had potatoes in. I'm just stacking them up with kind of layers of soil and layers of garden waste, and probably plant up the cauliflowers in those for the winter. That's my winter bed compost, and that'll go on the front garden and on the veggie patch. And it's beautiful compost. And these are my composting bins, so I have like a 3-bay system, and wood piles for wildlife. These grass things seem to grow everywhere. But the rhubarb, this is the rhubarb in the soil, was looking really poorly at the beginning of the year, looking much better. I've got a couple of new fuchsia bushes there that I've just popped in, and this might be sea kale or something like that. I forget the name, but something a bit sad. I think I might move it. And those are achilles that I've just planted from some display I had out in the front, hoping they kind of take off and survive the winter. Now that is self-seeded from a plant further down, and that's my sad looking apple tree, but I am hoping it's going to come back. All the berries coming on the bushes, and that looks like fennel or yeah, something. Curry plant, and again these were planted freshly from a display and they're doing great. Just a bit of ground cover. Lamb's lettuce there, and I've got some foxglove seeds that are growing well, so I've got some nice foxgloves next year. And that's a stray onion from the kitchen that started to kind of sprout, so I'll pop it in. It's looking quite pretty there. Get more achillea, and that one was got from Wellington Hall. And here is the beautiful Totendale kale that just looks fabulous in the garden and just grows and grows and grows. It has been a bit eaten by caterpillars, but yeah, we've got to eat something. I'd rather eat that. The ferns and a bit of there, and the lilies grow there in the beginning of the year. And this grass is just self-seeding everywhere. I'm going to have to do something about it next year. That's a bay tree that I grew from just a cutting. And the sunflowers have just about had it, but we've had a fabulous display of sunflower. But look at these Jerusalem artichokes. They are just like massive, far too big, and they've just started to fall over. This is what I call the hidden veg patch because it's in the border. You can kind of hardly notice it, and it's got some celeriac in there. And you can see these little grass seeds that are planting themselves everywhere. They have to come out. And the leeks. So there's all sorts of little things in here, and I grew some great overwinter onions in there this year. And again, a foxglove, and my foxglove was giant this year. It was about maybe taller than that. And again, Totendale kale. Now this is it just wants to grow. You can see why it's called a tree kale, the way it's massive. These were tiny little plants at the beginning of the year, and they've just really taken over from one stem that loads, and I've actually taken loads of cuttings, so get yourself some cuttings of that stuff. It's just amazing. It's like a cabbage substitute, so you don't need cabbages when you've got Totendale because you've got it just there. And this is the apple tree that's never ever produced an apple tree, but it grew it from seed about 10 years ago. And my dahlias, they're just dahlias this year. I don't know what's going on. But we're going to put some compost over them this year and just see if they survive the winter. And my potatoes. So we haven't kind of paid for a potato for a long time. These buckets are just amazing. You put one in and you get 5 or 6 out, for a couple of meals. We've got loads of them, and we just take them on the go. And that's the yucca plant, and that's grown in a big fabric bag, and it's doing amazing. So we'll see what kind of tubes it produces from the fabric bag. A nice, I've forgotten the name, lupin type flower, really pretty, and some herbs, tarragon and rosemary, and my chives that are still flowering. And last but not least, here are my little bowl of cress that I've just taken a snippet from, and I'm going to give a shout out to my daughter and my brother who saw that beautiful view from where they are now. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.